A very good afternoon to you and welcome to NTA Lagos Channel 10 News at 1. I am Cynthia Ikem. Now the news in full. Nigeria is to key into the Boat and Road Initiative of the People's Republic of China as an additional mechanism towards building further cooperation in the nation's quest for economic and infrastructure development. President Muhammadu Buhari, who stated this at the roundtable meeting during the Forum on China-African Cooperation Summit in Beijing, said the initiative synchronizes perfectly with the economic recovery and growth plan of his administration. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The roundtable meeting is coming barely 24 hours after President Xi Jinping announced a fresh $60 billion infrastructure financing for Africa by the People's Republic of China. The meeting, held behind closed doors, provided the opportunity for African leaders to discuss their various countries' proposals and see what can be obtained from the vital infrastructure financing facility. President Muhammadu Buhari said through the FOCAC initiative, Nigeria has been able to impressively address significant challenges in the areas of infrastructure, human capacity development, power, transport, agriculture, and humanitarian needs. The partnership, he said, has resulted in the construction of the first urban rail system in West Africa, the execution of $3.4 billion worth of other projects, including the upgrading of airport terminal projects, Zungeru hydroelectric power project, and internet infrastructure. Less than 3 months ago, Nigeria also signed additional $1 billion loan for the newly constructed rail lines rolling stock, as well as road rehabilitation and water supply projects. Nigeria, President Buhari said, is not only grateful to China, but will continue to support the FOCAC initiative towards achieving socio-economic growth and sustainable development. Some members of the Nigerian delegation described Nigeria's outing at the summit as highly beneficial.
How do you expect President Buhari not to be here? One, he is the head of Africa's biggest single democracy. Two, he is heading the second, or probably the first, the biggest economy in Africa. Three, he is the chairperson of the Economic Community of West Africa. Okay? Now, how on earth would we imagine a person of that stature, political stature, economic stature, to stay away from such an international bilateral organization like FOC? It's not just conceivable. It is good he's here. It is good he has a feel, a direct feel, not a remote feel, of what problems African countries have and what is the approach of the Chinese government and people to help, partnering with us in solving these problems.
So what are we likely to take away from China?
There's so much to take away. One, the goodwill. Two, we are participants, and obviously Nigerians stand to benefit. For instance, unless and until we develop our infrastructure facilities, all talk of development comes to nothing. We've seen it through the years, and what we're trying to see is how we get out of the mud.
Buhari should actually stay here to get it done. You can't sit at home and get things done. You have to reach out. As important as Nigeria is, which all African countries have confirmed, they look up to him too, to show leadership, and which is doing practically. So this meeting is held by other African countries. Actually, it's in favor of Nigeria, and President Buhari should be here. I think it's something that we must all embrace. If they develop the gas of Imo State alone, the best they can think about in the world, and the second largest in Africa.
And in what appears as a direct response to the concerns being raised about the rising debt distress, President Muhammadu Buhari explained that some of the debts incurred by Nigeria are self-liquidating. He said in line with the federal government's policy of fiscal prudence and sound housekeeping, Nigeria is able to repay loans as and when due. From Beijing, China, Adamu Sambo.
Now is the time to talk sports. Jamil Man has delivered one of his greatest upsets in tennis history by defeating Swiss maestro Roger Federer in a remarkable fourth-round match at the U.S. Open. Tola Adebule reports that Jamil Man came from a set down to win the match in 4 sets. His reports.
Considered Australian John Millman has turned the US Open upside down with a colossal fourth-round upset win over 20 times Grand Slam champion Roger Federer. In a life-changing performance, Millman left Federer and fans at the Arthur Ashe Stadium shell-shocked with a 3-6, 7-5, 7-6, 7-6 comeback victory to book a quarter-final date with another of tennis all-time greats, Novak Djokovic. Not since Pat Rafter handed an 18-year-old Roger Federer a tennis lesson on his Grand Slam debut at the Roland Garros in 1999 as an Australian conquered the great Swiss at a major. Since then, 9 Australians, including Nick Kyrgios, Leighton Hewitt and several others, have fallen victims to Federer on the court. Roger Federer, after the loss, said John Millman played a very good game and deserved to win the encounter. He also said the weather was very hot, which made it difficult for him to breathe.
I just thought it was very hot tonight, and it was just one of those nights where I guess I felt I couldn't get air. You know, there was no circulation at all, and I don't know, for some reason I just struggled in the conditions tonight. You know, it's one of the first times it happened to me, so it's just, yeah, it's uncomfortable, and clearly just keep on sweating more and more and more as the match goes on, and you know, you lose energy as it goes by. But you know, John was able to deal with it better. He maybe comes from one of the most humid places on earth, from Brisbane, so I knew I was in for a tough one. And you know, maybe when you feel like that as well, you start missing chances.
The win marks the first time 29-year-old John Millman has defeated a top 10 opponent. In Lagos, Tola Adebule, NTA News.
And with our sports reports, we wrap up the news at 1. Do join us again at 7 p.m. for a more comprehensive bulletin. Thanks for watching. I am Cynthia Ikem. Good afternoon.